Hey y'all, I wanted to come and share a little story time with y'all. I had written down everything that I wanted to say. And right now my computer is glitching. so uh so yeah. This is how I know the message needs to get out, right? But yeah, man. I was baptized into the Black Hebrew Israelite camp. And so I just kind of want to share my story a little bit. And obviously, this was my experience with one camp. So take it how you want to, don't take it. But I'm going to share my experience. The first thing I want to say is that I have always been pro-justice. I've always been very intrigued, I've always had this huge pull toward African-American culture, my ancestry, my own history, whether it's with my personal family or with my ancestors. And so this was something that did not develop once I was a part of the camp. This is something that I've always really cared about. And right before I joined this camp, there was this big Black conscious movement that was really pushing forward, and that was really happening in the wake of, like Trayvon Martin and all those other Black people who were killed at the hands of, very racist people. And so I was on a spiritual journey already, right? And so this is kind of one of the stops I made along the way. And so I'm going to try to read my notes, but my computer's glitching. But guess what? That's not going to stop what needs to be said, okay? Because it's going to be said. Okay, so first, let's just say I used to be, and I will say used to be, very pro-Black. Like, bliggity black, like, for real, pro-Black. And I say used to be because I'm still very much pro my people, but I think the foundation and the heart of it for me has transformed. The heart of it used to be, pride and just for the sake of rising up against what was oppression. But now it's coming, it's more in a space of, well, because one, we're human, and two, because Jesus is all about justice and equity. The Bible says that God's throne is his foundation. The throne's foundation is built on justice and mercy. I don't care, pick a chapter, pick a book in the Bible, and God is constantly speaking about justice and righteousness and how you treat other people. So when I say used to be pro-Black, I'm still very much for my people. But the way the heart behind it has transformed a little bit. I used to be enamored with studying the lives of different African Americans, different African people who fought for independence and who fought for just the right to be right. And so just at a human level, I really hate to see people treated unfairly. I don't care if they're Black. I don't care if they're African American. I don't care if they all the way are across the globe. It just is really something that grinds my gears. And so I'm setting all this up to say, to kind of give you some of the background as to why I was so intrigued and why I was able to be pulled into this camp. So like I said, I was already on a spiritual journey. I was right before, same season when I joined different year, but I was in the same season of life. I was going through some darkness. I'm talking about the experiences I was having was, I don't even have words. Yeah, I have my testimony on here. But yeah, it was really, really, really dark and bad and spiritual, and so I had made my way out of Christianity, even though I was still kind of claiming Jesus, but not really, lukewarm, but like headed out of it, because I'm like, I don't know. It's so I think they call that deconstructing, right? I was deconstructing my faith very much so. So I got into what I now know is like new age stuff. I didn't call it that then, but I got into, like, first it was astrology. I was so very intrigued by astrology. Then I got into tarot cards, which was kind of like, ooh, what am I doing? Ooh, this is ooh, right? But I had no reference point for it. I had no idea about it, but because I was looking at astrology videos, inevitably tarot card videos popped up, and one day I just took the leap, and I was like, I don't know what these are. I feel like people in the church would say, "Ooh, that's wicked," but I'm gonna look. And after a while, I was intrigued. I was intrigued how these people could flip cards and just read and know stuff. And after a while, there was a video I came across, a particular reader I came across who was very accurate about my life and what I was going through at the point. So I was hooked, right? And then I got into, I got certified as a Reiki healer, an energy healer. At the core of it was I was searching for truth. I needed help myself with some of the stuff I was encountering. I knew it was spiritual, but I didn't know how to access the spiritual information and really the spiritual help I needed. So my pursuit was to find healing, was to find, I would use these terms, but deliverance, really. At the time, I wouldn't use those terms because I didn't have much of an idea about it. I didn't grow up in a church that talked about deliverance, that talked about, all this other stuff. So I was very much lost in the sauce. And so I found my way into a lot of new age stuff. So I was a certified Reiki healer. I never practiced on anyone, and I thank God for that. But I went to the classes and I got, a little certificate paper. And yeah, I was into crystals. I was into just all kinds of stuff. And at the same time, I was into studying Egypt and Egyptology, and just learning, how brilliant they were, and how a lot of their advanced culture and a lot of the knowledge that came from there. And inevitably, when you get connected with astrology, you connected with the gods behind the sign. When you get connected with Egyptology, you connected with the gods behind the knowledge, right? And so slowly but surely, I was becoming engulfed with these things. And so pair that, the thirst for knowledge, the thirst for information, for light, for truth, pair that with the fact that I am going through an extremely dark season. I'm talking about dark, like, it's just like bad things were attracted to me. It was like, I would tell my friends about stuff that happened, and I would get off the phone and I'm like, do they even believe me? Like, I know that they know that I'm not a liar, but it was just so wild and so consistent, really since my childhood, that I was just, I had no answers. And so I felt like, okay, well, the church can't answer this for me. Jesus can't answer this for me. The most I knew about Jesus was that, you had to do what he said. And if you sinned, it was wrong. And of course, he was loving, but I didn't have a very personal relationship with him. I wanted it, kind of, but I still wanted to do my own thing. So I was just, it was very, I don't know, it was lukewarm, it was very like, okay, this is what I grew up with. I didn't grow up in a house where my mother was dogmatic and she used to hit us over the head with the Bible, but she made sure we was in the church. Right? And so she built that foundation in us. But there were some things that I came across that I just had no reference point for. What is this? Supernatural stuff, right? So that's how I got onto my spiritual journey, deconstructing my faith and all of that. So as I was coming out of that stuff, I will tell you that I had a friend, and me and her were really cool. And around this time that I was coming out of this new age stuff, because it just, my life kept getting darker and darker. It's like I'm searching for truth. I'm using these tools, but I ain't gonna front, it's getting worse. Like really worse. Like stuff was happening that was so, I can't even to this day find the words to describe it. I know it's words to describe it, but stuff like, just thinking about it, like terrible, terrible things that would happen that I would just see, I would experience. And so if I'm touching this stuff and I'm trying to like get better, why is it getting darker? Why is it getting worse, right? And at the same time, I was still trying to incorporate Jesus. So I would pray before I flipped the tarot card. Saying it now is extremely like, ugh. But that's the truth, right? And so I was starting to come out of that because I'm like, man, maybe I just need to like try this Jesus thing alone, like just Jesus, because it's not working and it's getting worse. So during this season, I had a friend, and me and her would talk on the phone almost every day. We would talk for just such a long time. And we were starting to think and believe, like, are Black people, more specifically, are African Americans the Hebrews of the Bible? Like, we were really starting to question these things. And so, I'm a researcher. I love history. I love culture. And I love the truth. I want to know the truth. So what I would do is I would go in the Bible, and then I'd get certain books and information from the internet, and I'd, do cross-reference studies, and, I would look at slave ship census, and I would look at the names of that. And I was really trying to figure this thing out, because I'm like, our stories parallel, right? And also I was still looking for truth. I was looking for a reason, an answer why Black people have gone through what we've gone through for so long. And I just couldn't find any pastors or teachers who were talking about it. Now, keep in mind, I'm still spiritually being attacked. I'm still dealing with so much emotional damage, emotional issues, and spiritual attacks. But I'm looking for truth. And so we started talking about this, me and my friend. And look how this thing happens. She said she went out one day, went to the grocery store, and she bumped into this older couple, and they were Hebrew Israelites, and they invited her to come over for a Sabbath, right? I guess they were talking, and she was like, yeah, I think we the Hebrews of the Bible and all that. So they invited her over. So she invited me over. So the first time we went, baby, I'm talking about, put on a dress, right? We even wrapped our hair, because we knew that many of the I guess how you call it, rules that they followed was, women should have their hair covered. Women wear, what's appropriate for a woman to wear, right? A dress, right? So we knew at least to do that. And so we went and we sat, and, we had dinner with them, and we talked, and it was just a really nice conversation. It was a small group of people, regular Black people. We were the youngest there. They were older than us. Some not much older, but it was just, it felt good. It felt good to be around people who believed like we believed, and to sit and have dinner and to just build, and it was nice. So we went back a few more times after that. And then what happened was they said that they were baptizing people. And so I was like, okay, well, let me get baptized, right? You're supposed to be baptized. I knew in the Bible that, you get baptized when you accept Jesus. I do this because that means, remember what I'm saying. So I got baptized. Yep, I got baptized by them. They baptized me. And I think my friend got baptized as well. I think so. So that happened. Now, but all of this is only in the span of maybe 2 months. I don't even think it was like 3 months. But the guy that started this camp wasn't the couple or the people that we were a part of their group. He maybe was in another state. So this was like kind of a branch of a camp.